Loops are just one more tool in your toolbox, but probably one of the most important ones. Loops are what drives, well, everything. If you think about all of the code that we have written so far, we have a start and we have an endpoint of that code. That code will sometimes inevitably stop executing. If we want to repeat a piece of code and make it execute 2 times, we have to rewrite it. If we want it to execute 100 times, we have to rewrite it 100 times, and that's not very effective. This is where loops become necessary. Loops allow us to re-execute a given piece of code a specific number of times or execute it until a given condition is satisfied. So we have two types of loops in MATLAB. They are called a for loop and a while loop. The for loop will run until it exhausts all of its options or indexes, and the while loop will run until a given condition is no longer satisfied. It can basically run forever. A very simple example of a for loop is if we want to re-execute a given piece of code 10 times. We simply tell MATLAB, hey, this is a for loop and we want it to execute 10 times from 1 to 10, and it will execute 10 times whatever is in the body of the loop, the code that is in the body of the loop 10 times, and that's all. With the while loop, we will give it a condition, and that can be, hey, re-execute this code until it's 5 p.m. The loop will still end at some point, but it's not bound by a specific number of iterations, but bound by a condition. And iterations is a new word that you'll get familiar with while we are talking about loops. One execution of the code within the body of the loop is one iteration, so the loops are iterating over a piece of code. It is also worth noting here that the for loop is actually just another way of writing a while loop, because it's still bound by a condition. It's just that the condition for the for loop is always run until you reach a specified number of iterations, while with the while loop we have a broader control over the condition. And this is helpful because more often than not you actually need to use a for loop instead of a while loop, and making a for loop out of a while loop takes a bit more writing. The aha moment for you in this section of the course will be that under every single function that we have in MATLAB, there is an underlying loop and sometimes a conditional statement within the loop.